Okay, this is our quick update on precious metals. I know folks are probably hurting out there, and ultimately, this asset class will have its day. It's just, I mean, things have been rough though. So we'll start on the daily chart. We'll start with GDX. That thing has been just walloped. I mean, my God, what a textbook sort of definition of a downtrend. I mean, look at this: consolidating bear flag, dump. A little bit of a rise, actually a bear flag, dump, right? And so we are on day 34. Very possible that this is actually our daily cycle low, and we'll look at gold and silver. We could be getting our daily cycle lows here. Topped out on day 14 and then just like fell off of a cliff, right? Importantly as well, there is a gap left from literally April 2020, right? When you kind of had the rocket ship after COVID, right? So the gap, the upper end of the gap was at 2583 to like, the 2574 area. So like about $1. We didn't quite fill it completely, right? We dipped into it today and then kind of rallied back. I suspect that's for foreboding. We are going to get to that 2650 area and probably quite a bit lower. On the weekly chart, we are at week 22, which is actually gold is, that's actually the same week for silver. They're following a very similar trajectory. And I'll talk about silver, which is part of the reason why I think GDX probably has a bit of a ways to fall from here. I mean, look at this. Top on week 12, and then just a steady decline. This is your lower high. That's your lower low. At some point, we'll get our lower high, and then we'll get the sort of capitulation low at whatever level the market decides. And looking at the monthly chart, oh God, that was your high from August 2020. So we rallied for 5 months, and then we've just fallen. We had this like fake out in April 2022, like where we made a double top-ish kind of situation. Now this could get people really excited, right? This is your false breakdown, right? We started below this low, and now do we rally all the way up above this high? That would complete this pattern. That would be a rally above 33.52. That'd be a beautiful rally from here. That would be your bullish scenario, right? Like this would be your false breakdown on the monthly level. Now it's July 1st, literally the first day of the month. So, it's debatable that we're going to get follow through here. Now, if this is a daily cycle low, what you would expect is at least a lower high. So we creep up a little bit, and then this candle fails and we continue lower. That's what I'm expecting. And if we go to the metals, well, actually, let's look at some of those longer term charts. See how those are looking. So this is your 6-month chart. My God, that was a big bearish outside candle on the 6-month level. This is your first half of 2022. Just a big rejection. A lower high to this lower high from 2020. And again, now we have the prospect of a false breakdown on the 6-month level. It's literally day 1 of this 6-month period. So too early to tell. What to my eye this shows though is after this peak, we've started this uptrend here where we had a high, then a higher high, but now we've started a pattern of lower lows and lower highs on the 6-month level. That's not good. That is not a good sign as we think about, a potential 8-year cycle low for gold and all these longer time frames. And so I'll jump over to gold on that note. So gold is on day 33, which is about the day that it tends to have its daily cycle lows. So that's actually a lot of hope for the bulls, I suppose, right? I mean, this has been a pretty tough one. Topped out on day 19, sharp low on day 20, chopped around since then. Now we're making that low, which is kind of a double bottom. So notice last daily cycle ended exactly on day 33 as well. So maybe this is our low and we're starting our little rally period, but I suspect we're going to get capped by this high here. Yet, here's the thing about gold that's a little bit tricky, right? Gold appears to be in week 28, right? So if we look at the weekly chart, so it makes you wonder, are we going to get the start of a new weekly cycle that's going to be bearish, or are we going to just get an extended weekly cycle that goes on for like maybe 30 weeks, 31 weeks. That's the thing to watch here in my mind. If you look at the sort of longer term chart, so similar to what we looked at for GDX, the 6-month chart, previous period was a big shooter, double top from this, and now we're just kind of inside, probably going to make a new low. The risk reward just doesn't look great for precious metals right at this moment. At some point it will. Every asset has its turn at some point, but at the same time, other things are down by so much. I'd say diversify what you're looking into, because many things are going to be rallying at some point, and so start to think about what has the most upside. So silver is on day 35 actually. Previous cycle bottom on day 33. So again, definitely due for a short-term bounce here. But I mean, look at this thing. This is like what you'd find in the textbook for bearish, right? For silver, we're on week 22. And silver tends to have these cycles that are more like 25 to 27 weeks long, right? You can see these. So if that played out, we could continue to drop for another 4 or 5 weeks, which maybe extends the gold weekly cycle, as I was talking about. Maybe that goes to like 32 weeks, 34 weeks. And silver just looks completely sick on this longer time frame. I mean, look at the decline it's been on. Like, these are all 6-month candles. So people talk about taking a long-term perspective. Each of these candles is literally 6 months. Look at that. Each of these candles is literally 6 months. And look at what it's done for the last 6 months. I mean, this is, at some point it's going to turn. Now the question is, will it hold a low of this candle here, right? So this is a low of 1772. I suspect that's going to be your pivotal point to kind of watch for a washout below that level. And, we'll sink somewhere here at some point, I suspect. And finally, I guess I'll take a quick look at platinum. I tweeted about this. I think we're on week 8 and the top was week 6. So not looking very hot, right? Like, if it was easier to short, I might look into puts, but it's not quite that straightforward. But right, we'll just look at the weekly cycle quickly. Last weekly cycle ended on week 31. We had this like grindy action. Then we had this big candle that was exciting. It was like, oh, things are happening, right? Then we made a slight higher high that next week, failed. And this is what I talk about. We didn't make a new low below this week's low that week, but then we got followed through the following week that finished the deals, right? This week, this candle finished by going below this one. And then we got more follow through, and we're getting more follow through this week. So this is week 7, 8, week 9. And notice this thing tends to have really long weekly cycles, 31, 30, 24, like usually in the 30 sort of week range. So if we're in week 9 of something that usually has a 30-week cycle, that's a lot of potential downside. It tells you to stay away from this asset and anything sort of correlated to it, at least until we see some sign of a bullish reversal.